Excellent. Yes, 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 yes. Hold on. Let me see what we can do here. This is wonderful here. This is awesome. Feeling good, feeling wonderful, feeling excited today. Let's bump a Tupac today. All right, let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. All right, family, friends, distinguished guests. This is the showstopper they call the grasshopper. Pianki Amun Ra, government named William Marshall Dow II, named after my illustrious grandfather, William Marshall Dow I. May he rest in eternal spirit. And today is June the 16th, 2019, according to the Western calendar. And that is in correspondence with the Kemetic calendar, which is ancient Egypt, which is 6,259, affectionately also referred to as 6259, Small Week. Welcome to the 7th millennium. Today, before I get into my topic of discussion, I would like to say Happy Father's Day to all the true fathers out there throughout the world. I want to say Happy Father's Day to those biological fathers who are in the life of their children, even grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I want to say Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there who may not have any biological children, but is still being a wonderful example to allow the youth in our community and in our nation. First and foremost, it's very important to really recognize that the youth may be 65% of our population, but they are absolutely 100% of the future. And it is our due diligence as men, in particular black men, throughout this country and the world, to really be a positive, strong example for the youth. Be an integral part of the youth as strongly as we can. The great W.E.B. Du Bois is always fond of saying, children do not learn by what you say, they learn by what you are constantly doing. And that is a very apropos as it relates to really instilling into the youth the trueness of truly being a man, and in particular, a black man, as we talk about empowering the honorable black race. So I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there and those, whether biological, whether you have nieces or nephews, or even if you're being a strong role model to our youth. Happy Father's Day to you all. All right, family, today is June 16th, 2019. 48 years ago today, the man was born. 42 years ago today, the man who really galvanized and revolutionized hip-hop as we know it. And not just hip-hop, but revolutionized the overall, I don't want to say totality of life, but he definitely put his revolutionary thumbprint on society, even though he only lived a quarter of a century. And I'm talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Tupac Amaru Shakur. Government name is Lassane Parish Crooks. That's his government name. But he's known as many as Tupac Shakur. And before I go on into the topic at hand, as far as venerating, paying respect to Tupac Shakur, I must be real with you. Tupac Shakur is an iconic figure of mine. I don't think Tupac Shakur is a legend. Nah. Just like I don't think Malcolm X is a legend. Nah. Just like I don't think Khalid Abdul Muhammad is a legend. Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael, they're not legends. No. Because the reason I say that Tupac and those others I aforementioned are not legends, and that is largely due to the fact that me saying that Tupac is a legend, I think that is dimming and suppressing and truncating his greatness. Tupac is much more than a legend. He is an iconic figure that really, once again, put his revolutionary thumbprint on society. Tupac Amaru Shakur only lived on this airplane once again for a quarter century, 25 years on this airplane, but accomplished so much in life. What did Dr. Martin Luther King respond to saying? One of his most prolific quotes. He states that it is not about the quantity of life, but it is about the quality of life. Basically, what he is saying is not so much how long you live, but how you live in that process of livelihood. And once again, Tupac only lived a short period of time on this earthplane, but what he did as it relates to the quantity will cause him to be venerated for a substantial amount of time. I'm part of an organization called Smatawi that represents Sacred Union. Before I go into that, let me give a shout out first. No, let me go. Let me not backtrack. Let me finish what I'm about to say. Smatawi. We have a saying, and the saying is that what have you done for humanity that's not caused no harm unrighteously to anyone that will cause you to be righteously remembered for a minimum of 10,000 years after you have transitioned to the next level of life? Well, I truly deem and know that Tupac Amaru Shakur lives out that question to its absolute highest apex, because he's going to be remembered for eons and eons and eons and upon eons of years after he has taken his last breath, which was over 2 decades ago. Tupac Shakur is without question unique. He is an immortal figure. Now, I got the Ankh on, representing the Ankh. This is my boy Jabari, Creative Woodworks. He makes these Ankhs right here. This is a beautiful Ankh right here. Ankh means life, the divine life. And this shirt I got from Ned Burke out of here in Lancaster Soul Plaza Swap Meet. This is a shirt right here, a Tupac shirt right here that I got. See? Tupac shirt. Me Against the World. His 3rd solo album, 4th LP altogether. Me Against the World. This is my favorite album by Tupac Shakur. Is Me Against the World. So anyway, family, friends, and distinguished guests. So let's get into Tupac Amaru Shakur, the great Tupac Amaru Shakur. What can be said about him? I was reading a book by Darren Dasfield, a childhood friend of Tupac Shakur when Tupac lived in Baltimore, Maryland. And he said that in the book that they asked Tupac a question when he was 8 years old. And the question they asked him, what do you want to be when you grow up? Tupac's response when they asked him a question, that question I should say, Tupac's response wasn't, I want to be a rapper. His first response was not, I want to be an actor. His first response was not, I want to be a poet. His first response was, I want to be a revolutionary. Tupac was a revolutionary, without question. If you listen to the great Mutula Shakur, free Mutula, if you listen to the great Mutula Shakur, he's always fond of saying that Tupac Shakur was a revolutionary rapper of his time period. And if you're not familiar with Mutula Shakur, that is Tupac's stepfather. I would like to call spiritual father. He's still locked up right now. He was a part of the Republic of New Africa, the Black Liberation Army. You did. So give him a shout out to Mutula Shakur. So, like Mutula Shakur states that Tupac was a revolutionary rapper of his time period. And Tupac was a revolutionary of his time, because that is the cloth, that is the entity, that is the ideological livelihood that Tupac was birthed out of. It was revolutionary concepts. It was Black power mentality. That's what he was birthed out of. That's what he was introduced to. His mother, may she reign in eternal revolutionary power, Queen Afeni Shakur, was a part of Panther 21. That's the Black Panther Party out in Bronx, New York. If you study the history of that, study the history of the Panther 21, study the history of Afeni Shakur, a powerful, powerful sister, peace mentor name. She is the mother of Tupac. And if you heard in the opening intro of Dear Mama, she states that she was locked up while she was pregnant with Tupac, but she got released, I do believe, May the 13th, 1971. About a month and 3 days before Tupac was born, to where she was able to have Tupac, not while she was incarcerated, but had Tupac when she was released and had him outside of the gates, as some of us like to call it. So Queen Mother Phoenix Shakur is a very strong and powerful sister, very strong and strong-willed woman. You know what I mean? And she was the one that really planted the revolutionary seed in Tupac Shakur and having a strong, thorough knowledge of self. She is the reason why Tupac became an avid reader. You know, when he made a mistake or did something bad, he had to read the whole New York Times newspaper and then give a book report about the New York Times newspaper. So she was very advocate of being a voracious reader and really helping to prick the consciousness of Tupac's mind. And that, him being a reader, also matriculated throughout his music from Tupac Now all the way to All Eyes on Me. Talking about the albums that came out when he was on his physical form. So Ashe, the Queen Mother of Phoenix Shakur, you know. So he was attached to the revolutionary movement, Tupac Shakur. Queen Mother Phoenix Shakur's mother, peace be to her name, Matul Shakur, his step or spiritual father, free him. Even his biological father named Billy Garland, he was a Black Panther. He wasn't a big known figure in the Black Panther Party, but he was a part of the Black Panther Party movement, Billy Garland. Then his godmother, the great Assata Shakur, who was in exile in Cuba as we speak, she's a part of Black Liberation Army. Then we get his godfather, Geronimo G. Jaga Pratt, may he reign in eternal spirit, who was a part of the Black Panther Party of self-defense. He did 27 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. So, so a big shout out to him as well. So Tupac, once again, have a strong connection to the revolutionary movement without question, which makes him a revolutionary icon, whether it's rapping, poetry, entertainment, and even activism as well. So yes, Tupac was a revolutionary. Let's talk about Tupac as it relates to him being a rap artist. Let's talk about that for a moment. Tupac was, without question, a prolific MC. Now, I know, unfortunately, we have some Tupac haters and detractors in the world today. Even though Tupac is an ancestor, we have them right now in the world today to where they try to spit venom at Tupac's integrity and character. Why? I have no idea. Many people don't. Well, it could be jealousy. It could be feel Tupac's getting too much attention. They could be angry because Tupac smashed verbally when it came, or I ain't gonna say smashed, but insulted some of their favorite rap artists when he was alive. You know, so it's a lot of things that go into why people it's not a lot. It's a small fragment of people who is attempting to assassinate, operative word, attempting to assassinate the character of the honorable ancestor Tupac Amaru Shakur. So they do that though. But anyway, one of the main reasons, or some of the reasons why those who don't deem Tupac as being one of the all-time great MCs is largely due to the fact they say he wasn't a real lyricist. Now we gotta really talk about that for a moment. What are you talking about as it relates to being a lyricist? Are you insinuating that he wasn't really flipping the lyrics with his delivery as an MC? Are you talking about him not using a lot of cadences and not using a lot of metaphors when it comes to MCing tactics? You know, that's why, I don't know who it was, someone stated that it's really hard to say who the greatest rapper is of all time, because it's so many different elements as it relates to MCing. We know there's a lot of different elements as it relates to hip hop, but it's so many different elements as it relates to the elements of hip hop, in particular MCing. Because you got rappers that rap fast, you got rappers that rap slow, you got rappers that are great storytellers, you got rappers that got the celebrated voice, you got rappers that are really mechanical with the lyrical ingenuity of the wordplay. You got so many different elements of the MCing elements. It's hard to really say who was the great rapper of all time, and that is the greatest rapper of all time. And that is why I think it is very apropos that when it comes to MCing, it's good, it's versatile, it's well-rounded. So my contention has always been, Tupac is my favorite rapper of all time. I do deem Tupac being the GOAT of all time. But I am not going to be angry with someone else saying that a Rakim, or someone else saying that Ice Cube, someone else saying that Jay-Z, whatever the case, or is a better rapper than Tupac, because I know it's so many different elements as it relates to the MC and delivery as pertaining to the MCing element as it relates to hip hop. You dig? So I definitely understand that. But however, I'm saying this, that when it comes to Tupac, who wasn't the best at flipping the lyrics. Hey, it's a whole. I'll be the first to admit it's a whole lot of different rap artists and MCs who was better when it comes to that criteria, as it relates to MC and delivery, as far as flipping the lyrics and using all type of magical wordplay. It's a whole lot of MCs better than Tupac, and I feel you on that. However, that's just one criteria, which is a very important criteria of MC. I am also stating that along with that, you can't forget about the lyrical continuity, meaning the subject matter, the sustenance of what is being displayed through that MC and delivery. And now when it comes to lyrical content, when it comes to the subject matter, when it comes to the versatility of what one is talking about, when it comes to the celebrated voice, which Tupac had, you cannot eradicate that from him. He was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, to do that. You see, Tupac was able to rap on a whole lot of, or discuss as it relates to the flexibility of his MC and tactical ingenuity. He was able to speak on so many different values, so many different means to really capture you. You see, you can't forget about that. Tupac was able to capture you because he spoke on so many different things: militancy, street knowledge, revolutionary, things that were socially relevant to today's corresponding times. He was a prophet because things he was rapping about over a quarter of a century ago, they're still happening right now. So he was also a prophet. He was also very political. He was, yes, very political when it comes to that. He spoke on that. He spoke on things that was culturally relevant. He spoke on things that was sustenance. And yes, he spoke on things that was even to some degree, some consider ignorant. He went in on other rap artists as it relates to banging on wax. So I understand the different elements, the different examples that Tupac had as it relates to really capturing you. That's why he is one, if not the most influential MC to ever walk the face of this earth. We can't forget about that. We cannot also forget about, because the detractors always try and say Tupac wasn't a lyricist. We cannot forget about the fact that Tupac had that intensity. You gotta have passion behind what you're doing. Any of the greats, whether rapping or not, yeah, you could be cool, you could have swag, you could have all the talent, but if you ain't got no passion, if you ain't got no life, if you ain't got no vitality behind it, you're not going to capture people. People are not going to be drawn to what you are conversing or speaking. That's what made Malcolm X so great as an orator. That's what made Dr. Martin Luther King so great as an orator. That's what made the late great Aretha Franklin so great as a soul singer. That's what made the great Muhammad Ali so prolific as a poet and a boxer. They were passionate about what they loved. They was passionate about what they deemed to be true, and they was passionate about the contract that they established once they came onto this earth plane. Tupac had the passion and the intensity as an MC that I don't think no one has touched. What does Shock G say? Shock G, Humpty Hump, of Digital Underground. What did he say on Thug Angel documentary based on the life of Tupac Amaru Shakur? What did Shock G say? He said that Biggie Smalls rapped from the base of his throat. No. Biggie Smalls rapped had a better flow than Pac. He said that. And he said that Nas rapped from his throat faculties. Humpty Hump rapped from his nasal palate. Biggie had the cool flow. But Tupac, he was able to rap from the pit of his stomach. I mean, he gave it all to you. He didn't just rap with his voice. He didn't just rap with the words that trajected across the 196,940,000 square miles of the planet Earth. But no, Tupac rapped with everything, his whole anatomy. You can see when he was rapping, a lot of people use their hands, but Tupac used everything, his earlobe, he used everything. He gave it to you all. And that cannot be dismissed. He didn't shortchange you. I wish I never met Tupac. One of my partners went to the House of Blues on 4th of July that took place in 1996 out in Hollywood, Sunset. And he was saying that when Tupac came out there, man, his intensity was in a different level, man. I mean, he was just rapping, this passion and vitality and zeal, and he gave it his all, man. What did Tupac say? One of his prolific quotes: Don't leave this life without giving it your all. It's as simple as that. Give it your all, whatever your endeavor is. I mean, your calling, what you love to do, your desires. Make it a burning desire and give it everything you got. Tupac and Shakur. When it comes to Tupac being an MC, he supersedes just skill base. Yeah, now once again, there's a lot of MCs that have better skills when it comes to the MC and ability than Tupac Shakur. I'll be the first to admit that. But we got to talk about the will set. The will set. Tupac had the will to be great. It's in the pudding. Tupac is compared to James Brown in the rapping, the hardest working man in hip hop. Putting in work after work, and people say, well, he did it after he got out of jail. He knew he was going to die. Or people say he did it because he was on parole. He might have went back to jail. That's why he put it. It doesn't matter what the intent is. The intent is not as a substance as what was actually orchestrated. And the key is Pac put in the work, making song after song after song album. He was relentless. You have a saying, the African proverb say, you got to starve your distractions, but you got to feed your focus. And Tupac had a focus as it relates to putting albums out, songs out like no other rapper. You see, family, I compare Tupac to a lot of people. And I know comparisons are odious, but it's a good comparison. You see, I compare Tupac to people like John Coltrane. You know, John Coltrane, considered by many to be the greatest saxophonist to ever walk the face of this earth. But he wasn't the most talented. You know, Charlie Parker was more talented than John Coltrane, who was John Coltrane's idol. You know, so many others. But John Coltrane had a skill set. I mean, he constantly worked on his craft, constantly beating, hammering, and really putting in that work on his craft, giving the sweat equity on his craft. Legend have it, John Coltrane would be in his attic working on his music for 12, 14 hours a day. Figuring out what worked, what didn't work. He went beyond the skill set. And Tupac had the same type of tenacity. Tupac had the same type of commitment and due diligence where he continued to put in the sweat equity as it relates to really harnessing and building on his artistic gift, which was being an MC. And he hammered it. So you gotta have a skill set as well. I mean, a will set along with the skill set. Tupac Shakur, once again, he had the intensity, had the will set, and he also had the voice. He had the voice that was very captivating because, along with the will set, along with the time he put in, along with the different means of what he could talk about as it relates to his MCing ability, he also had that voice that captured you because he gave it all, And he was one of the cats that whatever he rapped about, it resonated with you. And I think that's very apropos as it relates to Tupac Shakur. Now, Tupac was much more than just a rap MC. See, Tupac's legacy is not as predicated on his music. That's probably his most popular means of legacy is music, but it's not his only means of legacy. Strike that. His means of being an icon. Yeah. You see, Tupac was also a very prolific actor. He was a prolific poet, and he was a prolific MC, but he also was a prolific activist as well. Tupac Shakur was a very esteemed orator. I think that's very underrated when it comes to his iconicness and his greatness. People don't really talk about the activism and his oratorical ability that Tupac really gave before the world, you know. And let's really talk about that for a moment. Tupac is, when it comes to his public speaking ability, really helping to elevate and prick our level of consciousness mentally. Tupac oratorical ability, what he read, what he wrote, it was that on a level of a Fred Hampton Sr. Yeah, matter of fact, Tupac and Fred Hampton Sr., when it comes to the speaking ability, If you're not familiar with Fred Hampton Sr., look him up. He is the Chicago chairman of the Black Panther Party for self-defense. He died at the age of 21 years old, got assassinated. Study the story of Fred Hampton Sr., one of the greatest Black Panthers, one of the greatest revolutionaries to ever walk the face of this earth. Chairman Fred Hampton Sr., peace be to his name. And Fred Hampton Sr. and Tupac Shakur had a lot in common as it relates to their speaking patterns. Meaning they both were very passionate, extremely passionate, to where the words they confess, the words that they uttered, was able to really prick the minds of the youth, in particular the youth that was a part of the street life, gang banging in particular. See, Fred Hampton was a dominant organizer along with Tupac Shakur. Because if you realize something, Tupac Shakur came out with the Code of Thug Life in 1992. He was only 20 years old when that transpired. Fred Hampton got deemed of being the chairman of the Chicago chapter, leader of the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther Party, I do believe, when he was 19 or 20 years old. And the reason that Tupac and Fred Hampton was looked upon as leaders at a young age because of the voice that they was able to use to really not talk using all type of cliches or talking above the heads of the people. They had a great ability to speak with the people, to talk to them without speaking in an ignorant way. And what I mean by that is this, like, one thing that Tupac and Fred Hampton had in common as an orator is the fact that both of them used a lot of profanity. Hey, it is what it is. That's why I said Tupac oratorically is not like a Malcolm X or a Minister Farrakhan or Stokely Carmichael. Because those three didn't hardly use no profanity. They spoke different. And they was a lot older too when they spoke. They spoke differently than Tupac did. Tupac was younger, so he spoke the language of who he was around, but with him being an avid reader, with him being an erudite individual, meaning self-learning individual, that he was able to bring not just a certain jive talk, I don't want to say jive talk, but certain street talk to them, but he's also able to bring some street knowledge with them as well, and he compacted it together. The same with Fred Hampton Sr. So they was looked upon as being unique. So yes, when Fred Hampton Sr. and when the great Tupac Amaru Shakur, when they spoke, they used some profanity, they cussed a lot, but that wasn't the only means of their speaking. They also had a lot of things that had a lot of substance about the importance of reading, being politically astute, politically aware, being militarily prepared, all those different aspects, having the empowerment and protecting and loving your community. They was breaking it down very very comprehensive as well. Fred Hampton Sr. and Tupac Shakur, two of the greatest speakers to ever do it. Young, they was able to captivate people, and young people in particular. Yeah, man, you know when I was looking at something on a couple of months ago. You know, Nick Cannon, he got these Cannon classes on YouTube, very profound as well too. And I know he had on Dr. Carr, was on there, and they was talking about Tupac. That's how he was just ahead of his time, which he was ahead of his time. This is an erudite individual, self-learning, and how when Dr. Carr, he's a professor at Howard University. He was at an event that was taking place about 1993. I think it was a hip hop expo or something that the Nation of Islam put on. I think it was Nation of Islam. But anyway, Tupac was one of the keynote speakers. You may have seen this clips of this when Tupac had the blue and white overalls with Thug Life and the Santa Claus beanie on with a white T-shirt underneath the overalls. That's when the Thug Life movement was kicking off. And Tupac spoke at that conference, and Khalid Abdul Muhammad, another icon figure of mine right there, was there. It's the first and only time Tupac and Khalid Muhammad ever met. Khalid Muhammad was there, and Khalid Muhammad, you heard Khalid Muhammad speak. Oh, he's I think he's the greatest orator to ever walk the face of this earth. He is my hero, no question about it. My idol, Khalid Abdul-Muhammad, peace be to his name. The Honorable Khalid Abdul-Muhammad. Study his work too, though. Powerful individual. So anyway, Khalid Muhammad spoke there, and Dr. Carter was saying this in the interview. Khalid Muhammad spoke there, but Tupac spoke there too. And Tupac was doing a lot of profanity, he's doing a lot of cussing, but to be honest with you, people said that Tupac held his own. With all the great speakers, Dr. Carr was there, Khalid Abdul-Muhammad was there, Tupac held his own. And to be honest with you, a lot of youth gravitated Tupac even more than they gravitated to Khalid Abdul-Muhammad and Dr. Carr and the other cast that was there because of how he was projecting, how he was speaking. He was speaking with the people. Strong passion, strong zeal, strong fire, tenacity. Tupac had and still have today. Peace be to his name. So Tupac being an orator is underestimated and underappreciated. I think he's one of the best orators of all time. He didn't get a chance to do it just like Fred Hampton. They may not be known as a Malcolm X from an oratory perspective. They may not be known as those great iconic figures of Dr. Martin King Jr., Kwame Ture, a.k.a. Sterling Carmichael, or Malcolm X, or Honorable Minister Farrakhan, or the Honorable Khalid Abdul-Muhammad, because of their age. But I'm telling you, Tupac was a powerful individual. That's what separated him from the other MCs, to where he can reach people with music, which he did. He can reach people with his acting ability, which he did. He can reach people with his poetry, which he did. But he also had the voice, bringing in all those other elements that substantiated his greatness. He was also a person that speak to you without having a beat behind it. He can speak with you without improvising doing a movie script. He can speak with you without using colloquial rhymes and phrases of a poem. He can speak with you with straight talk. And that's what separates Tupac Amaru Shakur from just being an ordinary MC, an ordinary actor, an ordinary poet, to being an extraordinary or immortal figure. Because Tupac is an immortal figure. Now I'm going to wrap this up right now. This Father's Day. Tupac didn't have no children. No children. Biologically. But he had a lot of children out there who venerate this guy. I'm still saying Tupac is the most popular rapper of all time. He was without question the most popular rapper before he passed away. But I know now they're saying, like Snoop Dogg is probably they say Snoop Dogg is probably the most popular rapper of all time. And that could be true. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to say, but Tupac's still up there, man. I will say this, Tupac was living, he'll be the most popular rapper of all time. No question about it, how he was going. But okay, if you want to say Snoop Dogg is the most popular, Jay-Z, okay, I'm not going to dispute that, though. But I will say this, Tupac's the most influential rapper of all times, because a whole bunch of other rappers coming up under him, and even throughout his generation, they want their pantheon immortal status. Tupac is venerated as a god. Tupac is venerated as a god. Don't get mad, Christians. Tupac, look, hip-hop is a religion. Read the Gospel of Hip-Hop by the great Blast Master KRS-One. Read it. He gives a wonderful insight and a wonderful analysis on the dynamics of hip-hop. How hip-hop is not just predicated to entertainment, to music. It is a way of life. It is a spiritual, cultural, insightful way of life. And when it comes to religion, which hip-hop is a religion, whether you like it or not, hip-hop is captivating and is getting a lot of the youth throughout this country more than Christianity is, more than Islam is, definitely more than Judaism is, more than Kemetic spiritual sciences, more than Moorish spirit, more than 5%. Hip-hop is got the minds of the youth. They got the youth. And it could be, you could say, oh, well, they don't get the right impression of hip-hop. I understand that, but that does not negate the fact that hip-hop, whether you want to call it hip-hop in an entertainment perspective, it is still captivating the minds of the youth more than any religion in this country today. The thing is, though, with all religions, you have a deity. And I'm saying Tupac as related to hip hop. If hip hop, according to the great KRS-One, in the gospel of hip hop, is a religion, is a spiritual source, it gotta have a deity. And I'm telling you right now, this is not sacrilegious or blasphemous. I'm saying as it relates to a deity walking in the physical form, so we are all divine expression of the Most High. I'm just saying no MC, living or transition, of being deified in the physical form as relates to hip hop as Tupac or Shakur has. Yeah. 200 years from now, they're going to venerate Tupac. Look at him as Jesus. Don't get mad, Christians, as Prophet Muhammad. Don't get offended. Islam taking nothing away from who you deem to be deity, but hip hop got to have their deity too. And the deity is Tupac. Whether you like it or not, he is that pantheon status. It's Tupac. He is deified like Imhotep is of ancient Kemet. Don't get mad, comedians. I'm down with Kemet. Gotta be true. What true it is. Tupac is definitely deified when it comes to hip hop. So anyway, family, friends, distinguished guests, I'm not gonna be laboring any longer. I've been on here, my YouTube live. I love it. I appreciate it. And for those who look, check it out. I hope you will learn something in the comment below. Leave your comments, your questions, your observances, your disses. It's all good. I definitely accept that. And anyway, if you want to also, we leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that though. So this is the showstopper they call the grasshopper, the griot, Pianki Amun Ra, William Marshall Dow II, named my illustrious grandfather, William Marshall Dow I. May he reign in eternal spirit. Wish you all a wonderful Father's Day for the fathers out there, and y'all have a wonderful and prosperous week. Happy Tupac Day. Big black love to all. Hotep and Haki. We out.